All right, we're here on location, and this is right away. You're going to have to go watch the video of this interview because we all look sharp at Saks Thrift Avenue, downtown Red Deer, with owner Vincent Molgat. Vincent, thanks for having us here at the store. It's, man, I wish everyone could see Dustin right now. It's amazing.
I am buying this hat, so you will see it.
Well, we got to pick out a few pieces and dress everybody up for today.
No, I like it. This is why I showed up early, just to shop before the interview.
Hey, and welcome, coworker Aaron, to your first interview. We had two specific reasons for having you here. A, you're a thrifter, and B, you had quite the faux pas here, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I guess, Vincent, just to start off, tell us a bit about the history of Saks Thrift Avenue, and how it came to be and how you got to where you are today.
Well, it was just over 2 years ago. I kind of wanted a little bit of a break from just what I was doing. And we had this vacant space in this building. And I decided, hey, let's do a thrift store. And we support charities that are in our building. So right now that's Central Alberta Brain Injury Society, as well as Canadian Mental Health. And we kind of got it going, what would it have been, 3-4 months before the pandemic first hit. And then we had to shut down for 4 months. And the truth was, it really wasn't catching on. We just lacked parking. Everyone in a thrift store wants to park. They don't know how long they're going to park for. You park downtown, you got to plug a meter. And then as well, we weren't big enough. Like, you need a really big space. You need constant moving of inventory. So when we shut down for 4 months, I kind of stopped and I kind of said, what's been selling? And we got the old records from the Sound House, and those have been selling. So we really kind of made a little bit of a pivot and converted the store into predominantly a record shop. And then we do a kind of curated thrift and vintage up front.
And so for people who are used to going to true thrift stores like Value Village or any of the other ones in town, what is the big difference between an experience like that and coming to a more curated experience like this?
Well, the big thing is you don't have to look through 1,000 racks to try and find something that you like. We're very much going through and curating it for you, finding those pieces that everyone's kind of into right now. And you just kind of get to go through and find those gems. Now, are we a little bit more expensive? Naturally. But what you have to pay a little extra for, you make up in your time.
Absolutely. Yes. It is definitely the kind of store that you can come in and just grab things off the rack and they're all going to be wonderful and exciting and give you that same hit like you'd search for 2 hours through a rack somewhere else to find one good shirt. As you can see by my earrings and my wolf sweatshirt,
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone hopefully by now is, if you follow us on social media, you've seen my pink hat that I got here too. And a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, we're right now sitting kind of in the clothing part of the store. We have some awesome VHSs behind us too. So it's just, I think we know our listeners like nostalgia and you get a ton of that here. But I think the really cool part for me, and when we first came here, is the extensive record collection. I know, there are places, around Red Deer to get it too, but I don't know if there's anything that extensive. And is that something too, is that one of your main goals, is keeping that record collection as updated, use the word updated, I guess kind of loosely since they're mostly old records, but just keep it as stocked as possible and keep your eye out for what's out there?
Yeah, that's actually the most challenging part of the whole store. We're now open 4 days a week. We used to only be open 3. And I would tell people all the time, I needed those other 4 days just to track down the old records. I've gone as far this past summer. I drove all the way out to Oliver, BC for 1,900 albums. And it's that's the sacrifice you really do have to make. And it's getting harder and harder to find those big collections like that.
And you said to quantify your drive to BC and back. How many episodes of Oh Dear is that? Because I know you did. You said you crushed. We met you for the treasure hunt, and you hadn't heard the podcast yet, and you basically I have to assume almost all the way there and back. That's a lot of us.
Yeah, it was. I basically downloaded them all up to that point. So this would have been July. How many episodes were you guys at in July?
Probably about 14, 15 by then, yeah.
And I remember getting all the way back with half an episode left. And you know what? It was just the reinforcement that I needed, that it was a worthwhile group of people.
Idiots.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can say
You
it.
said it. Entertaining. I am not a big fan of like driving for long distances. And it just kind of really helped, ease that pain of that long of a drive. So thank you for that, guys.
And so you know how you met London Eye and Walsh through the treasure hunt. Just met Dustin actually for the first time tonight. I would love to hear maybe how you met coworker Aaron.
Yeah, let's hear your side of it.
I guess from my point of view, it was very much where you were in here and part of the policy at Saks Thrift Ave is trying to make a sense of community. So I do try to remember my customers' names, especially when it comes to the records and everything. So when people are looking around, I like to chat them up. I like to ask their names. And so here, coworker Aaron was walking around and everything, and I pulled my usual, like, hey, how you doing today? You looking for anything in particular? You've been in the shop before? And no, first time. And I said, oh, how'd you hear about us? Because that's the other thing I always want to know is like, what of my marketing efforts is actually working? And she's like, oh, a friend told me about the place. I said, oh, well, which friend? And she's like, oh, yeah, his name's Ted. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking to myself, oh, from the podcast. Yeah, that's so dear, isn't it?
So together.
So I kind of asked, and you are? And she sat there, stared at me. A friend.
For way too long. I stared at you for we just made direct eye contact going, I know who you are. You know who I am. And I just couldn't not make it weird.
I was totally expecting her to just say Aaron.
And
I'd be like, oh, coworker Aaron from the podcast. Yay. Hey, Ted told me he was gonna send you in because you love this stuff. But no, we had that stare at each other, awkward moment. And then we both just walked away. I think you kind of like ran out of the store afterward.
Did. Yeah, no.
You're like, that was way too awkward.
Yeah.
And then I went up front and talked to my, my colleague here. And I'm like, I think that was coworker Aaron from the podcast.
She's real weird in real life.
Yeah. So, but you did a wonderful job of telling it from your point of view on that night. So I appreciate that.
No, to be fair, it was the first time I thought I was recognized, but I also then realized that maybe I wasn't, and you were just a normal human being polite, and I just had to.
But you couldn't say I'm Aaron.
No. My brain was saying, say your coworker Aaron, but then the other side of my brain was going, why would you say that? That's an absurd, just say your name. And then I said, nothing.
It's better when we have a great story like this, isn't it?
Yeah. It's true. It's a real meet cute.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not weird anymore. You guys are sitting on this awesome couch that I wanted to buy, but it's not for sale. But anyways, I'm not a huge thrifter. I'm not a huge music guy, but this is an awesome place. It took me all 5 minutes to find a sweet sweater and moose hat that I'm going to wear forever now. Thanks, Ted, for finding
I'm not the only one who wears moose in my hair.
Whoa.
Oh no.
But I want to go back to the start because when you talked about community, you wanted to build a sense of community with the store and supporting different charities that are in your building. I just want to learn a little bit more of how you do that and props to you for doing that, running a business.
Well, yeah, it's, sometimes when you've been a part of the community for so long, you just kind of decide, hey, we all got to give a little back. And it's kind of how can you go about doing it? Now, I'll admit it was a little bit selfless in the sense that, part of the ownership group of the building and they were tenants in here, but we've seen them struggle, right? We've seen them where they've had bigger spaces, but had to reduce space and they're making do with what little they have. And so, and with everything going on with, I know you guys don't want to talk too much about the pandemic and everything, but we're seeing some, real struggles for people with mental health. So that one's an easy one. And then as well, I look at both groups as kind of like, people that just out of no reason of their own are just a little bit less fortunate. All right. And like we look at the people that are involved with those organizations and the amount of time and effort they put in there with little to no pay. And it's just a natural thing to do. And so when we say a sense of community, it's just also the community within the building. and dealing with everything that kind of goes on downtown Red Deer, everything else and those struggles. So, it feels good to be able to do that. Like any business though, there are costs and everything that has to go on. I'll admit I've got 2+ years into this, and I'm proud to say starting January 1st, I'm now paying myself minimum wage. So, you got to strive for the little things in life, right?
Congratulations.
That's good. I think last year, I made 4 cents an hour doing this podcast. So it's all a labor of love, right?
And then the Rage Room is now part of this as well, which I believe, Dustin, you and I are going to go rage out after this. But how did that come about?
The truth was, when we were a thrift store, you started to see all this stuff donated that just sits there. And it's a reflection of all the consumerism that we do have out there. And actually, my cousin, pre-pandemic, had one of those big golf domes in Calgary, and they had combat archery and all these other activities. And they would have thousands of people in every weekend. And they had started one up there, and they said, based on square footage, everything, it did really, really well for them. Very positive experience for most people. And I just saw the stuff that we had, and we had, again, empty space in the basement. I guess I'm just the type that needs another project. So, got some guys down there. We put up some puck board. We did a few little renos and said, hey, we'll give this a go. If nothing else, it'll be a lot of fun. We can also use it for charity events, whatever else like that. Anyway, again, we can kind of help out, help the community. And same time with, again, the big C word going on, sometimes nice just to go and kind of relieve a little bit of that stress level and everything. So we got that going in the fall, but that's a big time for us as a retail store with Christmas. So we didn't go above and beyond to kind of really push it and advertise it. So we've started that in the new year, and we're really starting to see it pick up down there.
So in regards to the Rage Room, and we'll probably learn a little bit more about it later, but can you purchase gift certificates for it? Like if you wanted to give it for a present to a wife or a family member, putting up with my shit all day, but
you need a lot of gift certificates then.
Can you
for those type of people you piss off?
Yeah. I mean, Ted, I could probably give Ted $1,000 worth of that Rage Room, but is there a way to, if you're not into the whole Rage Room thing, an ability to give gifts to hourly to the Rage Room or 15 minutes? How does it work?
Yeah, definitely. We do have kind of our 3 standard package. It's just, the bigger the package, the more items you get to break, right? So it's just a $50, $75, and $100 package. And the truth is there's a lot of value in even just our entry-level package. And, we do have gift cards for our standard package, but ultimately we can write a gift card as well for any denomination for the store. So they can be utilized that way. And they were a really big hit leading into Christmas, great stocking stuff or everything else like that. And we've seen the people come in, and, everyone's been pretty excited about it if they got it as a gift. And and so it's a great little thing for anybody and everybody. Even if you're not one of those people that have a whole bunch of built up rage or, need that outlet, it's kind of just fun to go and smash a bunch of shit, watch it break, and walk away. So...
And, I think the packages are for 45 minutes. I don't even know, honestly, if you need that long because you get really sweaty and tired in there too. Because you wear the cover, obviously all the safety gear. It's a very safe thing. I think that goes without saying, but we're going to say it anyways, just to make sure everyone knows that. But you get really sweaty. But what I really liked about it too was that it was the experience, down in the Rage Room is very reflective of up here in the store because, you're back there playing vinyl, you're basically, I don't know if you do this for everyone or we got the special treatment, but, you're playing songs, kind of changing out the vinyl, that too. So you got music blasting in there too. And it's just it's a ton of fun. I think for me, the music really added to it a lot too. And it seems like for you, it got to be a little bit of fun even just to run it and watch people go in there. And like I said, I didn't think I had any rage that day, but I guess I did. And it felt great after.
Yeah, no, that's the standard experience that most people have. It's vinyl. If you get here early, you can go to the back, find any record that we have back there that's open and bring it down to play it. However, we do have kind of our classic albums that we're putting on all the time. The number one song that we will play down there is Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff. And then probably Metallica's Black Album or Rage Against the Machine.
Or the song from Titanic.
No.
No,
Sorry.
Dustin requested
Sorry, yeah.
that for tonight. That's why I
Maybe
threw it in
just a
there.
murder podcast. Listen to a good old murder podcast while you rage out.
No thanks.
Well, and if you're ever going through a breakup,
Mhm.
we do have You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. So, we put that
Classic.
on as well. For you, Ted.
It was on. You put it on for us anyways, and yeah. I mean, I guess I feel like I'm always going through a breakup. Maybe that's why I liked it. That's just a good song. Like it's the energy that comes from this song is a good one. But yeah, I'll listen to that from the outside and just feel my feelings alone in the hallway while these two go and smash some shit.
One other thing as we're just chatting through this, and I can't wait to actually try it out, but like, do you bring in corporate, like businesses and stuff like this would be a great team builder activity for businesses if they're, if you're going through a big audit season or a tax season, or like you want to just get some relief from that work environment. I know, again, back to COVID has kind of hampered a whole bunch of in-office activities, but as we come out of that, I think that's a great
activity
for, small businesses, big businesses to get their employees in here and give them a little stress break from the everyday work life.
Yeah, we're definitely open to it. We do have a few limitations, and mostly we just have the one room, and our insurance only allows us 2 people in there at once. We can rotate people through and everything else like that. And yeah, it's something we're definitely looking to do in the future. So I'm expecting Dustin for you to bring all the bulldogs down here, or, everyone from the shop, and come smash it up. You just got to round up those people for us and we'll set it up. I know on the upcoming weekend, we've got a couple groups of like 4 people coming down. We don't know the exact details, but it's hopefully going to be a great time. So
A lunchtime smash break.
Yeah, I mean, that might mean different things to different people.
Sorry.
Especially when you're working from home. That's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Rage break.
I know someone asked me, like, how much is the smash room? I was like, I don't know. I'm sure those exist downtown too, but if you're talking about the rage room, that's something different. But Vincent, I know, for the thrift store now, for, you're more looking for vintage and not like the bulk donations or anything like you would take somewhere else. But for the rage room, I know, for me, you're always going through coffee mugs you don't need anymore, or that type of glassware that you might just throw out. Can you, people just drop it off and donate it to you for other people to use? Or I know you can just pay a flat rate to bring all your own stuff as well, right?
Yeah, we do have some limitations. We'd love for people to drop off stuff to donate. They can pay a $30 package, bring their own stuff to smash. We do have some limitations. It is in the basement, so we don't want to be hauling anything like gigantic up and down the stairs. We also can't do screens. There's mercury in them, so that's just a hazard in itself. But in terms of like, our name is Saks Thrift Ave, and we initially took donations. We don't really anymore. We would love still to get donations of breakable stuff. If you have vintage clothing or records, we're more than happy to even buy those from you. Because again, that's kind of, it's a business that involves a lot of time because you have to find things. Mm-hmm. It's not one of these where it just kind of walks through your door. You can order it from a wholesaler and everything. So yeah, whether you want to give us the items to be broken or come and break them yourself, that's always an option.
Grandma's China. Finally found a use for it.
It's sad to say, but we do get a lot of China. Yes. And yes, it does get smashed in the rage room. So
I'm sure my parents are still saving theirs for the Pope or something. So I don't know if I could get that. But now, and Vincent, coming back just to the store as a whole, because you spoke about how you want to create a community. Have you found already too, like you have a great community of regulars that come in and tell you exactly who they are, but really come in and just hang out and look around, and you get those regulars coming in that just love the vibe here and are just kind of feel at home here?
Yeah, definitely, especially when it comes to the records. It is one of those, we have regulars that, they're known by name. They're in here every week. Some people come in every few weeks. There's a guy that's 3 out of 4 Sundays of the month, he's waiting outside for us to open to come. He gets a bunch of records and he puts them on. He does his paperwork for the week. Mm-hmm. And you hear all these other stories too. We had a lady that was bringing in or coming in to purchase records, and she'd send them to Fredericton to her father who has dementia. And they were saying in the home that he was in, it was very beneficial because these were the songs he remembered from when he was young. And he would clean them all day. He would play them all day. And everyone else was getting the enjoyment out of it as well. There's a lot of really great benefits to music. And one of the reasons it's really come back is because a record, compared to an MP3, to make an MP3, they remove about 30% of the actual music. Mm-hmm. And so now that we've had a whole generation that hasn't even owned any other medium, it's kind of interesting for them to all of a sudden realize, well, I own this. This is mine. And then as well, when they hear it and they're hearing the full quality of what it should be, because it's still the highest quality form of music we have ever made, it actually releases higher levels of dopamine. And so they're really getting this kick out of it. And as well, I think the pandemic was good for vinyl resurgence because you had to kind of slow down. You had to put on, you had to listen to the whole side. You had to brush off the record. You had to flip the record. And we all kind of slowed down during this time. And so I think it's very beneficial for a lot of people.
That was so far over my head, but wow. My dopamine's going right now.
So maybe that's what we are. We're really like for dopamine junkies. You can come. You can get a little bit from buying that perfect vintage piece of clothing. You can get it from listening to the music. And then you can go down to the rage room and you can rage out and really just kick them into overdrive down there.
It's really my perfect day. Like the dopamine hit from these earrings, I can't even tell you how in love I am.
That is your Golden Girls.
Yes,
tribute right
yes.
there, yeah.
I can they're clip-on, so I can just pull them off like I'm Blanche Devereaux about to get into a fight. I'm very excited.
I'm more excited to see how they look on Dustin later if they're clip-on, yeah. But yeah, going back to the records, I think, it's really cool because more and more, like you said, you see the resurgence of records, and especially indie bands now, the newer ones release. I know for me, it always stands out in my head, Arkells. Everything they do, they release on vinyl. I see Taylor Swift, Fearless. Of course, that's the first thing I notice up on the wall too. So you can get newer albums on vinyl as well. And I don't know how the sound is compared to an actual old-fashioned record player, but you can go to and get like USB record players and all that where you can listen to it, record it from vinyl on your computer. I think those type of things. So do you see do you get a lot of people that are getting into it that way, or is everyone, are you like a traditionalist here and you want the traditional old school record listeners?
I would say we're a bit traditional here. Now, there is new turntables that have added a bunch of technology and everything. However, the old equipment has a warmer sound to it. Why that is the new equipment we're making it to do a whole bunch of things. We're making it to do surround sound and to, hear the Millennium Falcon fly past you behind your head. And as a result, you're not getting the same sound quality of the old equipment. So here we only sell the old equipment, as well as we don't want to sell some of the new stuff with built-in speakers because that sound, of course, is vibrations, which is just going to move your needle. All right. So we kind of stick to the old stuff. But when it comes to records, we bring in the new stuff as well. Definitely, because of course there's some stuff that was never pressed before now. The difficult part with new vinyl though is right before the pandemic, one of the master pressing plants in the States burnt down. And so it used to be about like upwards of a year to get something pressed. And now we're seeing it being even upwards of 2 years. So increased demand, less supply. We'll start to see these pressings come out of other countries even. And then in terms of sound quality, it really depends on the new vinyl. Some of them are just pressing it from digital files. And why vinyl is a superior quality, it's done from original analog tapes. And some of the big bands, they are doing it again from the original analog tapes and remastering. But others are pressing it kind of quickly. Now, in terms of quality for most people's ear, you won't hear the difference, right? And this is still better quality than any other sound source out here. However, there's something to be said for that original analog type sound. And because these analog tapes aren't going to last forever, we're actually seeing a lot of stuff being pressed at very high quality while we can still do it. And so a lot of these classic albums are being done very beautifully, even to the point where there'll be better quality ones than the original. But with that comes a little bit of a steeper price.
How much are you learning tonight, Dustin?
Yeah, my brain is on overdrive right now.
The hat might be a little too like you're not a 4-notch guy. You're a 2-notch guy. I think you have that hat on way too many notches.
Yes, I do.
It's funny, actually. I was talking to my husband on the way down, and I was like, "Oh, and they, gonna have all these cute clothes." And I was like, "But they're also a record store." And the rest of the drive down here was him waxing poetically about the warmth of listening to records, and so it's definitely. I can see why so many people are back into records versus the digital downloads.
So does this mean that your husband has a turntable?
No, he's a very lazy record lover. He just waxes nostalgically about it.
He spreads the good word.
Yes.
Sounds like a birthday gift, Christmas gift possibly coming. Actually. And maybe we can get him hooked. He can be a regular down here.
You know what? I would do that. I can do that. Yeah.
The beauty is he comes down for records. Uh-huh. You come down to shop for your vintage.
Yep.
It's a perfect store for both parties.
It is a perfect date night.
And then you go smash, and then you go into the rage room after and go break a bunch of stuff.
I love it.
But really, I think for anyone too, like Dustin, I knew probably half of what you were saying there. Dustin knew zero, but you can come down too and get, like, if you don't know anything about records, it's a great place to learn. I think you and I should probably just talk about music the whole rest of the night. Like I said, I could go on and on and on. But before we do that, we'll start to wrap up and let you again, one more plug for the store. Obviously people can check it out online, follow you on social media, book the Rage Room online, basically kind of all of those salesy parts that we have to get to at the end.
All right. Well, I guess the most important thing for people to know is we're only open Thursday through Sunday, 11 till 5:30. And it really is about just kind of a step back in time and doing a little something different, trying off some different clothing. This stuff's popular because it lasts. Anybody that has bought any new shirts and jeans, I bought 5 pairs of Levi's about 4 years ago. They're all split in the crotch. These that I wear now, they're all vintage because they are actually going to last. These jeans are already 20 some years old and they'll probably last at least another 20. And then that's the same thing. Like, vinyl's timeless. It lasts a lifetime. It's to be enjoyed for this generation, the next generation. And I truly believe they're not going to make a better form of music because of capitalism. It's just never profitable anymore. And so, that's what kind of the store is about, is sustainability, enjoyment, making a sense of community. And then I guess come and smash some shit. We can all use that these days. So, yeah.
Yeah. If you are wasting your time at a thrift store going through all of the men's t-shirt racks, hoping to find some magical graphic t-shirt, stop wasting your time. Come down here. They've done the work for you. You can just walk in, purchase, and go home with exactly what you wanted to find.
Or something that you didn't expect to find, like mine or Dustin's hats. Yeah,
I will second that though. And being a guy who, would go to a thrift shop for a certain thing, and you look for hours and you're going to a couple different ones. And I walked in here and it was like 10 different things immediately. What am I going to wear for this?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we find this moose hat. God, what a place.
Well, it was pretty easy shopping for you guys. So, it's funny how a vintage piece can just call to you. You walk in, you see it, you're like, that's me. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty. We get people that come in almost every week just to check, hey, what's new? Yeah. And they know they're in here and they don't have to spend a lot of time. They look at a piece and they light up. Or sometimes they walk around, nothing for them this week. So I'm glad you guys all found something, and it didn't even take us long. 10 minutes?
No. Yeah. I mean, right away you see this Van Halen shirt, right? And the only reason I didn't buy that is because I already own it. But it is like right when you walk in, right behind us here, Kevin Walsh, here's your third sign to buy that vintage Taz leather jacket, because it is here right behind us. Mm-hmm. And nothing could ever fit a human being better than that jacket fits him. So
it is a statement piece.
Yeah. And that statement is, I'm fucking cooler than you. So Kevin, you better buy it. I think a lot of the stuff here says that though. So
True.
I guess that's a perfect way to wrap up. And Vincent, thanks again for having us. You know, we've worked with you since the treasure hunt and a couple different things. And now you're an official partner of the podcast, which is awesome because I think everything about you and the store and what you're trying to do here is exactly, you know, in line with our podcast. And what we're trying to show is people in Red Deer who love Red Deer trying to make it better. So thank you for having us. I guess the one thing we didn't say is you are on the corner of 48th and 48th.
Yeah, that's correct. We're right next door to a little white church on the corner of 48th and 48th. So unfortunately, there is going to be construction across the street from us for at least another 2 years, but a new courthouse is what we need. So, you know, a little bit of sacrifice and pain for the end results that will be wonderful.
Well, and yeah, one last time, thank you for having us and coming on. And I'm not going to delay Dustin and Aaron going down to the rage room anymore.
Well, of course, Aaron needs to get to bed here shortly, so we better get him down here pretty soon.
Yes,
so
we're recording very late.
Yeah. So
I appreciate that.
And thanks for doing your hair tonight, Aaron.
I know. I really took a lot of things to heart.
Yeah, the one night you could have worn an awesome hat to cover it up.
It's true.